And good morning, Hoosier fans, and welcome to a hotel version of the Hoosier Morning After. This is Hoosier Morning After Illinois. I am your host, Chad Schwarzkopf. Last night, Indiana fell to the Fighting Illini 69-60 in a game that had its ups and downs, had its fair share of things we've seen before from the team, but again, overall, I know a lot of sting still sits in there for a lot of people when we have a loss, and losing always stinks, obviously. But what I chose to think about this morning when I woke up was the difference in response. Indiana, I've at least been, to a degree, happy with their response after bad losses or frustrating losses. After Texas, after Florida, and then after Northwestern, coming out with a different intensity and definitely a game plan change. First half obviously was a little sloppy to start for both sides. It looked like both sides could not make a basket, and kind of play struggled a little bit. But what I saw was a different game plan on offense, bringing Trayce Jackson up to the top of the key around the free throw line and doing little tiny drives and little dumps off to him, letting him create himself. So there was definitely an asserted effort from the players and from a game plan standpoint with the coaching staff to get the ball to Trayce Jackson Davis on every offensive possession. And it looked good. It created at some points. Trayce, I believe, struggled again, like he has before in the past, with making some of those close range shots. He did not end up shooting well at all for the day. Ended up 3 for 13. Was missing a lot of shots. Again, he's going against some elite talent with Coburn down there underneath, but they definitely struggled a little bit. But to go into half against them and limit Illinois to 29 points is pretty good. I think they even stated at one point some of the lowest they've had, or the lowest they've had this year. So the defense was doing a pretty good job confusing them and keeping them. And second half came out pretty strong as well. Started to see something that we've been wanting to see, and our biggest argument on the last game, Al and Rob kind of turned it on for a good maybe 10 minutes there in the second half. Thing that killed IU, obviously, was a 14-0 run that Illinois went on. And that did not look good. I was very scared at that point, too, because we had a lot of empty possessions, a lot of guys settling for shots quickly. And just, there were a few times, though, I will admit, in this game where we had a lot of rattlers, as I like to call it, just where it just rattled in the rim and then just popped out, where it's just so close to going down, the ball almost went down. And those are aggravating. I mean, obviously they count as misses, but if you're so close like that, it's a matter of millimeters of that ball hitting the rim slightly different. And instead of it bouncing from one side and hitting the other side of the rim, it bounces and falls down. So a little aggravating on some of those. I think I know Armand at least had one of those on a three-pointer that probably would have staved off that little bit of a scoring run. But then we get Trayce in a little bit of foul problems. We see Jordan Geronimo come in. He played fantastic in his limited minutes that he had. He did what he could on defense, and then hits a nice corner three, which is great to see in his repertoire. If we can get the game to slow down in his head and him not to have a kind of swivel head when he's out there. He's kind of got that looking around. He's still trying to find the game. The game's still trying to slow down for him. So once we reach that point with Jordan, it's going to be really great. I like the weapons that he has and the abilities that he's going to be able to unlock when he is able to see more time and get into the groove of the college game. But again, after that, to have IU surge back and get within 3 at the 4-minute timeout is fantastic. We had a chance there. There was a chance there. Unfortunately, after that point, Io, who we did a pretty good job on throughout, I thought guys did a good job staying with him and limiting him. They obviously had a lot of pick plays where he would start going one way and loop around the other that get him free from his player, and it's going to be tough to do anything against someone like that can get loose like he can and create his own stuff like he can. He's a good player. Similarities, I think, to what we're seeing from Armand. But anyways, after that timeout, just IU hits a 3. We miss some free throws and just some bad play on the other end, some bad offensive choices. Trace misses a jumper. Al missed that 3-pointer towards the end. It just couldn't close it out. IU couldn't close it out, and it's frustrating, I know, and it triggered a lot of people last night on Twitter and in the IU fan base, and I think it triggers us a lot just because it's stuff we've seen before, and that's aggravating. And we don't want to see these close losses, these folds where we have stretches where we just can't get anything going on offense, and it just looks lackluster when you can play in good stretches and then just to throw it away towards the end. It is very aggravating, and I don't know. I put that on, again, having that strong guard play that's going to be someone that can calm us down, that can focus the team and get things going a little bit better. I don't know if we I don't know. I don't know how we get those guys to snap out of this and play consistently throughout the game. Again, maybe it's a thing where coach just has to bite the bullet, and we have to get more minutes for Christian Lander, because I mean, I don't know if we obviously saw Rob out of the starting lineup today. I think that was probably more from a defensive standpoint as far as matchup and size than I would put it anything else. But yeah, I think that we need to find a solution to this, and I think Lander needs to get more time in there. And but I like what our that new starting lineup that we had did. I like that Trey got in there. Trey and Armand together are fantastic. I really like the combo of those two guys together, because when they play together, they create. There are only real fearless guys to go north-south. No one else on this team is willing to go north-south like they are. Now Trey scares me a lot because he likes to jump before he passes, and that can get you in trouble. He also does it because obviously he's down near the basket and he wants to have a chance either to go up, or it gives him a better view to see around the bigs that are under there, but it also traps you. You got to get rid of it. You got to get it somewhere. But Trey finished with 32 minutes, playing a great game, at least to the eye. Was 2 for 4, so he wasn't forcing anything. 0 for 2 from 3. I thought he hit a 3, so I don't know if the stat is wrong. Might have to dig further for that. 4 rebounds, 2 assists. He had no turnovers. So there, I said I'm scared about those little jump passes, but no turnovers from it. So he did a good job from that, and just obviously with 4 points. And then the other side to that, 32 minutes also from Franklin. He finished with a career high, I believe, 23 points. The best stat in his line is 5 for 6. 5 for 6 from 3. He looks confident. He is confident in that shot. And he's become IU's confident shooter and consistent shooter. He did have 3 turnovers, but I believe the ball was in his hands a lot more this game. He had tied for the second most attempts at shots, actually probably the most if you figure out that he'd had 6 3-point shots. So his usage was really high in this game, and we looked to him to create things for us. And in my mind, he is the second most important player on this team. Take him away, and it's a Trayce Jackson-Davis show. I mean, it already kind of is, but take away Armand Franklin, and who steps up and scores those points that he's been scoring for us? I don't know who. So I really like his game, and I really like where he's going, and excited for the future of him as a Hoosier, because he's going to be fantastic. He is turning around and turning heads big time for everyone. So I'm excited for that. Trayce Jackson-Davis, again, I said before, he shot 3 for 13 from the field. So I think he struggled making a lot of those shots that he went in and took. He took some very odd ones. A lot of guys are taking very odd off-balance shots. Some of that you can attribute to Illinois, but some of that not. I think guys were just being impatient with their shots. Al, that being the case for him as well. He was 4 for 12, again, taking a high volume of shots. A lot of that high volume and either just missing, like I said, or just taking shots too early led IU to under 40% shooting from the field. But 38 from 3, which is not terrible. And free throws at 77%, so that's good. I think we averaged down in the low 60s. So at least converted that. Points off turnovers, 10. Again, we had 8 turnovers ourselves, and we forced 11 out of Illinois. Illinois also got 10 points off of that. Points in the paint, 28 Illinois and 24. Pretty close. I would obviously, you want to see Indiana do a lot better with that. And Race had a decent game. I wanted to see a lot more usage out of him too, because he had a bit of a mismatch. Guys on him. He had one of those threes that kind of rattled out. It was very close to going down. I'm happy that he took it. I want him to take those. To see him be able to hit those in rhythm is only going to open up his game that much more. But yeah, I mean, again, it's a frustrating game. Frustrating to lose. You hate to lose back to back, but it's not making excuses at all. But they're playing at Illinois. Illinois is a top tier team. They're a very good team this year, and I mean, they're ranked 18th in the country. So obviously they're going to be good, and it's going to be a tough Big Ten this year overall. We have 2 coming up that we should win. Penn State and Maryland. They're both at home, so guys should be comfortable. Penn State is on the 30th. That's Wednesday coming up, and it's at 8:30, so a late game. Should be able to beat them. Not sure too much about Penn State. I haven't looked into them. I haven't watched any of their games this year. But again, it's the Big Ten. Can never count anyone out. So, yeah. Again, I'm not one to get too caught up in the Twitter storm after these games and get too frustrated, too down. Let's shake our heads in aggravation and move on to the next game. Get ready for this team. I'm always going to tune in. I'm always going to be excited to see the Hoosiers play, and I'm always going to be optimistic about the outcome. So, yeah, I think that's it for today's show, guys. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can also check out this show anywhere that you get podcasts. Special thanks again to my fellow Bloomington South grad and old neighbor friend Bob Thompson for producing the music you hear on the show. I'll see you next time, the morning after the game. Until then, have a wonderful day, and go Hoosiers.